should now be live. Just double check everything's working. For some reason, Logitech decided to make my microphone quieter than it should be yet again. I hate it when it does that. Hello TJ, you are the only one here. It seems like it's going to be another quiet stream today. Just one of those things, I guess. I guess people are not interested in modular building. Oh well. Quite possibly, TJ. So today I wanted to tackle building DIN style lagoon hatchery because it's one of the few buildings I haven't done in a DIN style. I have done practically everything else but the lagoon hatchery and the aviary hatchery. So I want to have a go at the lagoon hatchery. Now I've kind of got a rough plan of what I want to do. But I am going to make a few changes, I've decided. So I need to remove a few things. I mean, let's just remove all the brickwork because I want to replace it with panels anyway. Well, panels? What have we used? See, I use panels on these buildings. Right. The concrete is what you're supposed to use for the DIN buildings, but I kind of prefer the panels. Maybe we'll use both. We'll use the concrete. Actually, no, we won't use the concrete on the front door, because on the front door I want to use glass. And now the other problem with the lagoon building, or the hatchery building, is that it's like a really tall building. Like the base, this base building is actually quite tall, and it's quite an awkward shape. So figuring out what I want to do shape-wise is kind of tricky. But I know that I want to have... I want to make use of that diagonal there. Do we have a slightly shorter one? We do. So how has your day been, TJ? Been up to anything interesting? Currently working on a Road of Time park, like all 3 vehicle tours going through large open areas. Much play with the kids, yell to the kids. I see. The other thing I have to think about is that the actual lagoon building itself has a lot of like inherent details in it, but there are some details I'm not particularly interested in keeping. Such as these god-awful ugly side pieces here. What I do have to do is be careful how tall I want that to be. I think to actually get this building how I want, I'm going to have to make the front of it a lot taller than I really want to. Basically get rid of this horrible door that's on the top. I think I'm going to have to make it that high. That... where's the roof? Okay, so that will... Interesting. So if I make that slightly shorter, it will be too short. Bugger. Okay, we'll go along with that. Have you seen End of Oak Street, TJ? Because everyone seems to be talking about it at the moment. This side, I want to... Hello, Beardy Throw. I haven't actually seen Primitive War. I just, I don't really have an interest. I don't do really well with, kind of B-movies, I guess is the word you'd use. Like movies that are supposed to be taking the piss, like Sharknado and stuff. I just don't have an interest. Oh shit. Bugger, what was I doing here? Oh, I wanted the... Right, okay. I wanted... I think I know what I want the shape of this building to be. I really do hate it when it does stuff like that. I have to figure that one out. I'm actually thinking of doing is, so let's put in the floor. Make the floor, make the floor asphalt for now. Change it. What I'm thinking of doing is having get rid of that. Have a floating floor. Not floating floor. There'll obviously be pillars and stuff, but you get what I mean. With the giant concrete walls, we can make structures like Tyrannosaurus Kingdom. We can, if you want to recreate Jurassic World. I don't. I prefer to make my own stuff. I don't really understand people who do recreations. Because to me, I've always seen the point of these games is to demonstrate your own creativity and your own imagination. And then what do people do? They go and just recreate Jurassic World. And I'm like, isn't that kind of not the point? Plus, T-Rex Kingdom was a damn silly idea. You see how little space the poor guy had in the film. It was ridiculous. A Victorian era of Jurassic. That would be different. Very different. Why are you... I really... Sometimes these modular building elements do not work the way you think they're going to. That's roughly what I want this one to have the shape of. And then this bit up here will be the roof. Yes, because what I want is there to be like a walkway over this. Probably running level, to be honest, with the wall line. This brickwork was just like a temporary measure. I've also realized I want to change this stuff. So this all needs to be panel. here. Ish. Look, better once the colours are matched. Sometimes I wish there was a mountainous map in the game to make a map resembling the Everglades in Florida. Swamps of flat areas. Oh, as in, like a square map, but without the surrounding background mountains. Yeah, the square maps do kind of have a kind of boring background palette, I guess. Like, there's nothing as interesting as like having a city in the background or anything like that. They're all pretty the same thing. The man who put the delete and duplicate buttons that close together deserves a place in hell. He really does. I did a trip to the city of Kilkenny yesterday with my autism group. Is there something special about the city of Kilkenny? I have never heard of the place. You know what? I'm tempted to just... Maybe not. Okay. Roofing. Use this stuff, I think. Yep. Is there no... Are you kidding? There's no... Oh, you pain in the ass. Okay, I'll have to figure that one out at a later date. Time to trim. Oh, they have a castle there. I do like a good castle. Being a Brit, we love our castles. Tumbleweed. I would love it more if Frontier were a bit more consistent with what is and is not supplied, and what is and is not gridded, and what is and... You get my gist. Trimming is the most time-consuming part, but buildings really do look weird without it. I do know some people have built traditional British style, but speaking as a Brit, I do wonder if some of these people actually have ever been to Britain. Because sometimes I look at these buildings which people are calling traditional British, and I'm like, maybe in a, like, an old part of a Tudor town, maybe, but that's not what I would consider traditional British. I do think they have a particularly sort of touristy perspective of what traditional British buildings look like. Nice. I mean, I suppose the whole wanting more building sets and stuff, I suppose that feeds into one of my complaints about the Dinosuchus DLC, that the buildings are yet again American styled, and people have said, "Oh, well, it's an American IP, so of course they're going to be an American style." But I think that's nonsense. You've got Chinese buildings in this game, so why can't we have some other, parts of the world in your DLCs? Because the Wetland DLC was also American in its building materials. So I'm like, could we maybe, Frontier, think about some building styles from other parts of the world? Just a thought. That's annoying. Just have to level that out. End of Oak Street was good. Okay. I have the distinct feeling I'm not going to enjoy it. Like, all I've heard from everyone is that it's amazing, but usually that means then that I won't enjoy it, because that's just the way it seems to go. I mean, I didn't especially find the trailer that great. And I'm not a huge fan of the dinosaur designs I've seen so far. So, I don't know. I am not convinced I'm going to enjoy the film. We'll see. I know my buddy wants to watch it with me. Okay. Bottom layer of trim in place. Missing. Wrong one. How far out do I need this to stick out? A reasonable distance. This is going to be awkward. Yeah, African species, African style, design elements would be nice to have. That's annoying. I just want something that isn't American, basically. It's just like, I don't care what it is, as long as it's a building set that is not inherently American. Of course, that might be my rampant dislike of America coming out, but there are other parts of the world, and it would be nice to see them represented. That's not the right radius. That one is definitely not the right radius. I put all these in my favorites. Why are they missing them? Oh, I get the hate, and I'm American. I don't hate Americans, people, you know. I'm in a relationship with an American, but the country and a certain demographic of the country, shall we say, certainly does give me pause, that's for sure. Why does it do that? Frontier. Here is a really simple thing I wish for you to learn. When we want to rotate something, we want to rotate it around the center, not around one end. Make sure your angle of rotation, your point of rotation, is the flipping center point of the object, not the end of the object. Fucking winds me up when it does that. That's kind of the trim I tend to do in all of my buildings. I mean, where's my security center? Over there. So yeah, and then we'll do some stuff like that on here as well. Just keep an eye on that. How I want this to look. Maybe we should actually have the front be a little higher. Right, let's get this sorted. The walkway. Now, I was going to do it as, like, you know, proper large building pieces, but that feels a bit too much. So what I'm going to do is there'll be a tower at this end, like what the other ones have. So we'll make a sort of small-ish tower. And then the rest of it, I'm going to make use of the lovely rebirth gantry pieces. I've kind of fallen in love with these gantry pieces. I think they are really quite nice. But the first thing I need to do is grab a door. Okay, there is a lot of space on the back of this wall for us to put in a door. Now, if I want there to also be a walkway that hangs over, which, you know, you might consider dangerous, but this is Jurassic World, or Jurassic Park, you know. So I want it at that height. Obviously, this is not going to be the finished walkway. I'm just using it to help me guide things out. So that would be the center of the walkway. That would be where it comes out there. Is that big enough for unt door? It is just about big enough for a door. Interesting. So really, the roof needs to be a smidgen taller than that. So that's going to be the door. Oof, that is quite close. Okay, let's do a little bit of redesigning up here. What if That's too big. They are way too big. How much can we shrink them? Okay. So it makes sense to me that you want someone, you know, looking out the back, just in case someone slips and happens to fall over the gantry into where the babby mosasaur is. It makes sense. You want someone up there keeping an eye on things. It needs to be one more smaller. Right. Now, if I'm doing that, that's going to need 4 pieces. Weird. It becomes naturally filthy. I'll just get some concrete. I do sometimes despise the difficulty in trying to get things to just fit together properly. Everything's not quite at the right size or right scale. You know what? I'm just gonna make that door slightly smaller. I mean, I think the doors are overscaled anyway. And no one's going to notice if the door is ever so slightly a size smaller. Nice. Now, what to do up here? angle of that makes that. I mean, I would hope so. Life. Because honestly, I don't see why not. Yeah, Edaphosaurus, Moschops, Gorgonopsids, that sort of thing. You know, all the basic ones, as it were. I think I'm going to have to manually place. But then that ends up not fitting. So I'm going to have to put a piece in there. Thusly. This on the back. Do you think we can go a little bit bigger with this? Probably change the material of this, but for the time being. Actually, let's not use those. Don't like the way they look. Let's actually just use... do we have something that's a little smaller than that? Because that's way too big. Nope, that is the only size available. Okay. In that case, no fancy angles. I'm normally pretty good at getting the shape of what I want down, but this one is it's giving me a little bit of pause. Because that feels way too tall. But maybe that's what it's got to be. I would like to be able to reskin pretty much all of the transport vehicles, as it were, in the game. Like the Jurassic Park balloon, for example, or the Jurassic World and Jurassic Park balloons. It would be nice if we could have a DIN version of them. At least. It looks a bit weird when you have to use like a Jurassic World balloon in a DIN park. Now, this tower I do actually want to be quite tall. That'll do. Actually, maybe a smidge. Okay. That's going to be the general gist. Let's put the flattening pieces in. I always like to put the flattening floor foundation pieces in quite early on, just to kind of just establish what size this building is going to end up being. Diagonals? We do. One piece. So we want a little bit of room to put in some stuff, but not too much. And this underside area. I want big enough to be able to put plenty of things under it. What time? An hour. We have been doing this for. We are slowly but surely getting there. I think we'll replace that with one of those. That's better. Just can't get the roof looking the way that I want it to. Tom Cruise versus Evil Knievel. That's quite a mix there. But we don't have anything to fill in that gap. Because we don't have triangular shaped pieces. Okay, and this will allow us to fill in the gaps. Could go the whole hog and do a completely natural roof. Sorry, I'm just having a look at my other... They do on the roof. They didn't really do a roof. And here they've just... What I think the problem is, I think it's because I'm using shorter pieces and it doesn't feel like it's the right height. So it makes everything look weird. I do kind of prefer that though without it. What if... What if... Let's... What if we had the windows like there? That kind of works, actually. I don't dislike that. We need to shuffle things along a bit. Have to find a way of covering that up. But I don't dislike that. I just need to figure out how to hide the rough edges. Okay. Let's sort out this roof, because this is awfully ugly. Right. Better. Much better. Trim. Let's finally trim the upper floor. Hey Chad, I'm doing alright. Struggling a little bit to get this building the way I want it to look, but we're getting there. How are you? There's be a little bit of an overhang. And you thought it was all right. See, I keep hearing really different things about it. Like, I've seen some reviewers say that it was bad. I've seen some reviewers say that it was really, really good. I've seen some that have been like, you know, it's just a acceptable popcorn flick. Seems to be quite a range of diverse opinions when it comes to this one. Oh, perfect. And then all I need to do is like grab a like a metal girder, and then the metal girder can go under there, and then put a piece of angled metal up there, and down either side of that, and that'll look good. Every recent dinosaur movie is like that. True. It does seem like dinosaur films are the modern day Marmite. Like, pretty much every single one of them is either you love it or you hate it. Be honest, a lot of things have gone like that though. Modern day Star Trek is equally the same. You either love it or you hate it. Or like me and my buddy, we're just kind of in the middle. Although this week's episode was awful. Uh, truly, truly awful. Why is this? It's called the best dinosaur movie since Jurassic Park. But that's generally because that's like the only standard measure for a dinosaur film is Jurassic Park. Like it's got to be as good as, or at least better than the Jurassic World films. Hey, Matthews. That is way too far out. Right, at last, the roof trim is in place. That feels better. Trim along the top of the wood. Is it along the front as well? Where's my security center? Nope, just along the top. Same as Chad, actually. I think me and my buddy are due to watch that quite soon. Dino Mike, hello. I think the argument for End of Oak Street is that it's where they wish Jurassic Park went with dinos on the mainland. Yeah, I've heard that as well. Like that's what Evo's opinion was. But from all I've seen of the trailers and stuff, that just is a bunch of people running around because all the dinosaurs are just acting like generic monsters, and I don't really think that's any different to how they've been acting in the Jurassic World films. So I don't know. I think there's a difference between just generic movie monster and being in the real world, but like I say, I haven't seen it yet. I will be at some point. But then that's kind of my general problem with all of the modern Jurassic movies in the first place, is that they've just turned the animals into generic movie monsters. And that was fine when Jurassic Park and The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 was doing that, but I kind of feel like we need to move on. Could we not have something a bit more unique now? Or a bit more nuanced, I guess, is the word I would use. Okay. Some doors up here as well. I think we'll go that. Not necessarily how the dinos act, but just the fact of being on the mainland, I guess, and the type of setting. I believe Shadows touched on it. Maybe it was Swerve. Oh, you know my thoughts on Swerve. Or maybe you don't. Maybe I don't know how new you are to the channel. We're not big fans of Swerve here. Gutters. Gutters. Probably want the small ones. that a little bit smaller. Swerve is 10 is an edgery. Bit harsh. That looks like it's too much. 30-degree angle? That looks like the right one. Nope, that is not the right one. Let me guess, like all the other angled pieces in this game, it's not a dedicated... Oh no, it is. It's a 22... It's a 22.5 degree angle. Shock. It's an actual dedicated angle. Oh, you bugger. You're not going to let me grab that now, are you? Let me grab that. Let me... I do hate it when it does that. Haven't heard why there is dislike for him. I mean, for me, it's because he just acted like a bit of a child when I was commenting on something he had done. I'm also not a particular fan of him using the sort of clickbait tactics and AI generated thumbnails, but you know, it is what it is. Right. Gantry. How wide do we want this? Because I kind of feel like one 2 meter thing feels wide enough. Make it 1.1. 1.1 wide. You want gantries running down either side as well. Oh, I forgot there's a diagonally bit. Okay. Any door is going to have to be... make that a little bit smaller. Just to match the door on the other side. So... let's put it roughly center. No, let's put it roughly off center. May Life, I'm not going to reveal that because that's literally a video that I will be working on probably for release in the next few weeks. It's tricky because the Walking with Dinosaurs retrospective is almost script finished. Almost. I'm down to like the last couple of chapters, and they're relatively easy ones to do. I'm almost finished with the scientific errors section, which anyone who's watched Walking with Dinosaurs will know is like a really chunky section. But that is the sort of last difficult section to write, because obviously it requires going away and researching. Luckily, the Walking with Dinosaurs wiki has like a long collated list of all the inaccuracies and stuff, so I'm sort of cherry picking the ones I think are most relevant, which is very helpful. The 150-ton light product. Yeah, which is pretty much like the most famous one. Although looking into it, like the Cruel Sea episode is probably one of the episodes that has the most mistakes. Primarily because, I'll share this bit with you. It's the completely wrong time period for practically all of the animals. Like the actual fossil bed they're claiming it is, it's the wrong time. So pretty much all of the animals, apart from Rhamphorhynchus, are positioned at the wrong point in time for their, when they're supposed to be in the fossil records. So the Cruel Sea episode is like the largest one with the most inaccuracies. I've just realized if I'm going to have a gantry on the other side, I've used the wrong piece for that, haven't I? I've used the wrong section. Probably one of the most dangerous jobs the DIN guys are going to have to deal with, walking along these gantries over baby predators that are going to want to nibble on their kneecaps. Now, the diagonals. How are we going to do them? Because that doesn't really work. I'm going to have to do it myself, aren't I? It's not a 45 degree. 36. It's not a 36 degree. 30. And it's not a 30 degree. Gonna have to do it myself, aren't I? That just looks terrible with the clipping. I wanted them to go all the way to the end. The clipping of that looks dreadful. Maybe just fill up. Maybe just have like a much wider platform here. Think about that. The problem with Xiphactinus is why would you use it instead of Dunkleosteus? And when it comes to lagoon animals, there are a lot of other lagoon animals that I would rather have over Xiphactinus. Hesperionis is good. Is a good idea. In fact, it was in my shortlist for the Lagoon DLC video that I am doing, but it narrowly lost out. Like, there was a bunch of similar sort of animals to Hesperionis, and in the end, it narrowly lost out to a couple of others I was more wanting to have. Which is the problem when, you know, designing DLCs and stuff, which I do like to do. I like to design, you know, hypothetical DLCs for things. You have to be selective over what you're picking. I will probably make these metal sections a different colour, thinking about it. For now, they can remain blue, if only to give me clear lines. Orthocones is what you're referring to, TJ? Yes. Which, again, are wonderfully interesting, creepy animals. But I don't think would ever come to this game. Animating them would be quite the struggle. Like, I know that's why people said Dinosuchus would never come to the game, but let's be honest. Does anyone actually think they didn't just copy and paste over the crocodile animation rig from Planet Zoo? Or at least, you know, start with that and then, like, modify that a little bit? Because that's what I would have done. I would have just started with the Planet Zoo crocodile rig and then just modified that to become the Dinosuchus one. After all, it's the same engine, so I'm sure it's a similar animation process. Okay. So roof lined out, trim in placed. We're going to trim these upper floors actually as well. What those of you have stuck around to see is that this is pretty much like my really basic process for building. Do I use wood or do I use metal? I used metal here, so we'll use metal over there as well. Yeah, this is basically my process. My process for doing buildings is like get the rough shape, finalize your shape, trim it, By that I mean do stuff like this, and then start doing like the proper detailing, and that's it. Never build, just on like an empty place. Always have something to build from, whether you're building from like a plan you've drawn or a building idea off the internet or something like that. It can really help. Bye bye, Chad. Thank you for popping in. See you Sunday. Speaking of Sunday, I'm thinking I'm probably going to start the beautification process on the Indonesia park, because that one looks really bad. I don't know what to do with the roof of this tower. Should we leave it like, because we've got two examples here. We've got like the open tower that they did for the Jurassic Park style, or the closed tower that they did for Jurassic World. I think since we've gone for like a closed tower here, I'm thinking we'll do an open tower on this one. So need to give it, I think we'll go with a brick floor. That's what I usually use for the upper floors on all of my DIN buildings. Oh, but of course. Oh, and this all needs to be brick as well. So let's sort that out. Interesting. That's gonna bug me. Yeah, real zoos are good. In fact, I have the idea for my next sandbox build. Is going to be based on a real zoo, although it's going to require so much modular building that I don't know if I really want to. It's like, I really want to do this bug, but at the same time, I'm like, just all the modular building is going to be horrible. It's going to be so much work. And it'll take so long. So I think that might be a next year job. I think for the rest of this year, I think I might just focus on beautifying my campaign builds and that sort of thing. That's better. Right. Now, a lot of my buildings, DIN style, they do use a lot of panels, glass, that sort of thing. But also a lot of wood paneling as well. So, I think what we might do is remove... I'm going to remove this corner. I'm actually going to replace it with glass. Thusly. And we're going to get a couple of chunks of wood. And slide them in a little bit. And in keeping with all of my DIN buildings, this is going to be orange glass. Right. Now, I do want to stick on an iconography of some description. We have the DIN logo over here. We'll have the name of the building in the center. So over here, we'll have some iconography. What can we use for a lagoon? Oh, I'm with you, my life. I would like to see some more vehicles. I want placeable versions of the choppers, of the ranger vehicles, of the maintenance vehicles, etc. What? What were they called? They weren't mosaics. don't even know where they are. Maybe they're in props? Not in props. Fountains? Not in fountains. Oh, I wonder if they're a decal, actually. Ah! Hang on. Yes. How small can I make? That would just about fit there. What do you think? Ichthyosaur or mosasaur? I think... the mosa. But is it a mosa? I suppose it's a... looks more like a chrono, to be honest. Okay. Now I want to change the color of the bits behind. What? 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. DIM blue. And then let's change the color scheme of this boy. So shall we do it the other way around? It's too much white to be the walking with dinosaurs Liprodon. Oh, we could go with the turmeric chrono skin. I have had a radical idea. All of a sudden. Is that water? Where's the actual water there? I see. Oh, that's annoying. Is it because it's... that it is under the water, which is what I wanted. Yeah. Then if we just like grab a piece of metal. can just infer that that's like... Oh, maybe we should put it behind glass. We got the transparent glass, right? This transparent glass is actually very difficult to use. Of course, now it's out. There we go. Now it looks like it's behind a glass panel. So it's water behind glass. You still get the little distortion and shimmer on it. That's quite cool, actually. Like, that could make for some like nice, like just standalone placeable decorations. Have you ever seen the Star Wars vehicles? Oh, I've seen. There's loads of vehicles and stuff in there. Right, yeah. And then we can have on this side, we'll have the DIN logo. Edge that. Which one did I use over there? I wish there was a version of this with black all the way behind it, like that one was. Well, this is why we're literally doing like the only two DIN style buildings that I haven't done is the Lagoon Hatchery and Aviary Hatchery, because everything else is and I haven't done like a DIN version of a couple of the tour rides either, but that's because like they're not really DIN buildings, but I might do those as well. But I want to get the Lagoon Hatchery and Aviary Hatchery done, and then this collection, which is all my DIN stuff, will go onto the workshop, and I will add to it as we go along. Like I spent some time today doing some planter and fountain designs for it as well, so I want it to be like a bit more complete, like have the basic buildings done before it goes up there. I think obviously it needs where's my command center? There it is. I might do something like this on the bottom floor. Maybe stick a column in there and a column in there. Columns are a big part of DIN style buildings, so I feel like it might make sense to have like a column in here. Probably put a column in that side as well, just to make it look even here. Put a column in there too. That's a bit big. Right. I think on this side, we'll go with this slatted wood. Is it going to be too long? No, it shouldn't be. Slatted wood, slatted wood. No, I just want the cut. There we go. Reduce that ever so slightly. Maybe again. So I don't want it on the wall, I want it away from the wall. There we go. here we will actually have windows. So let's replace these with window pieces. I had an idea of moving decorations like small turtles on rocks to the look of enclosures and wildlife. Yeah, it's funny you should say that. Like, one of the things I think that this game badly needs is like more movement, because stuff is just too static and unmoving, and it makes stuff feel a bit bland. Do we want wooden door frames? Yes. Window frames. Nope. I think we'll keep them as default. We'll just make them a bit more blue. Mm. Mm. Let's put a column there. And then we'll stick one here to hide that horrible sticky outy bit. And we'll put one there. Funny you should suggest that, Maylife. It's one of the things that I have in the DLC idea that I'm making a video on, is something along those lines, a mini submarine, something like that. The only problem is obviously something like that. Is like how you actually work it with the lagoons, because the lagoons, you have to. This is what, like, one of the difficulties I encountered when I was planning out the lagoon DLC idea that I had, is that there's actually like a few inherent problems with with the lagoons, even getting basic things to work. Like, one of the, I mean, we have a lagoon here. Like, one of the basic attraction ideas that everyone requests for the lagoons is lagoon windows. But even if you design lagoon windows as a placeable um, object to snap to the side of the lagoon, well, the window is going to be below the surface, isn't it? So automatically, it's not like players can just snap a piece to it and leave it. The lagoon either has to be above ground level or they have to dig out around the lagoon. Lagoons can't be built easily above ground level unless you fuck around with the terrain first. There's not an option to just raise it up a section or two. So for ease of play, you have to actually change the way the lagoon works to get some of these things to also work easily. Which I don't think is, you know, beyond the capacities of Frontier. Some people like to defend Frontier whenever they're criticized and be like, "Oh, but it's so much hard work." It's not. It's not. They're game designers. It's what they're supposed to be for. They're supposed to do all these things. Yeah, okay. I suppose I ought to put some columns under that. What did I use for columns? So under here I used those. Okay. And then for these I used those. Okay. Any other columns anywhere? Here I use those as well. So I guess that means using these again then, to make it suit the rest of them. Okay, so where is... Okay, that's that line there. I don't want this bit to be too cramped under here because I have the idea of this being like a storage area. We'll just surround it in like fencing, and there'll be, you know, storage stuff down there. Fire escapes and stuff will be on this side. There'll be like an emergency ladder down there, and on this side there'll be like an emergency ladder. No, there won't be an emergency ladder, but there'll be a fire escape probably down here. So one there. That about there. And about there. And then have another one. There. And then if you put one in the middle, yeah, happy with that. A submarine part hyperloop. It does make sense, yes. I mean, I think that's probably the easiest way of doing it. And then... Yeah, okay, so then we want a fire escape on this side, probably there. Thinking under here we'll have some windows. Probably have an exit there as well. That makes sense. But if you want this to be a storage area, the windows are going to have to be fairly big. The doors are going to have to be fairly big. Even. What do you think about that? Let's see. Maybe in the last few minutes, we'll get the gantry finished. Because I don't like leaving it like this. I really did want it to be... I wanted it to go right up to the end. To get it to go right to the end, I'm going to have to overhang it like so much. No, even just slightly overhang. I have to think of what to do about the corners to make it look like that's intentional, but I don't necessarily mind that. Yeah, and then obviously there'll be some girders underneath to like keep it upright. Just some banisters and stuff. Yeah. Well, that is the end of the stream. Thank you for the folks who have joined in to watch me start working on this. I'm probably going to carry this on, actually, and try and get this finished this evening. So if it is finished this evening, I should put pictures up on in the community tab when it's done. Thank you for the folks who did tune in today. Don't forget to like the stream if you haven't done already. It really does help deal with the algorithm. I will be back on Sunday, and like I said, we are going to get started with having a look at the Indonesia campaign park that I made, which is so utterly terrible. I'm embarrassed by it. So we're going to like tackle that and delete a bunch of stuff and making it look much better. And yeah, that'll be Sunday's stream. If you are new to the stream, please do consider subscribing. Again, helps with the algorithm. And I will see everyone on Sunday. Until then, wherever you are, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday evenings. Stay safe, and good night.